Yeah, be a short one, right?
When he first came in, it's like a college.
She wasn't talking to you. Do you have copies? Do you have copies? Or two? Oh. This guy really does not come in, so I think two should be enough. It might come up, so. So. Hello, hello. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gonzalez, you ready? Mr. Flores, you ready?
The May 18, 2022 regular meeting is called to order at 6:31. Let the minutes show that all members are in attendance except for Ms. Hernandez and Ms. Gallovitia. Mr. Spence, will you lead us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One state under God, one and indivisible.
Excuse me, teacher. She's very sick still. She is very sick. She said she left me. For the record, okay?
Good evening. Our vision statement, working together, Fabians ISD creates a positive and lasting impact through multiple learning opportunities. Our mission statement, all students of the district will be prepared to be successful, lifelong global learners. First order of business, Fabians ISD Board of Trustees, Communications and Visitors. First, before I call anybody up, I would like to read this. The board president will allow anyone who has signed the sheet to address the board at this time, according to board policy BED local. The board encourages comments from citizens of the district or employees. The board asks that comments pertain to public education issues and be no longer than 15 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss any issues that are not posted on our agenda. The board will not hear complaints or concerns regarding individual employees or students at this time. The district has a policy outlining procedures for bringing complaints or concerns about specific individuals to the attention of the district and ensuring that they are addressed in a timely manner. Copies of our district policies on public participation in meetings and filing complaints are available at the office of the superintendent. Finally, please be aware that the rules of decorum will be enforced in the public comment period. Personal attacks, name calling, and rude or slanderous remarks will not be tolerated. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her own statements. First, Ms. Cynthia Pacheco.
Good evening, board. My name is Cynthia Pacheco. I'm an alumni, class of 1999, and I'm currently the Fabians High School art teacher. I teach Art 1, and as well as taking care of our CATs, which are the credit recovery students, get them ready for graduation, and our loss of credit students coming back from the pandemic. So I bring to you fruits of our very hard work, fruits of our labor. This program that we started within our art students, me and Ms. Melendez, there is something called the Visual Art Scholastic Event that a lot of other school districts have participated in for more than 25 years. And Fabians, about 3 years ago, we decided to go ahead and spearhead our students into the VASE event, and we now have 3 winners on the regional level. They all received a rating 4, which is the highest rating that they are able to achieve at the regional level. They were seen at the state level, but they have yet to be advanced in there. So I have 3 students, one of them from Division 1, which is an Art 1 student. This is her first year. This is Alejandra Archuleta, and she submitted her artwork. This one right here called Sunset Afterglow. Alejandra. This one was based on her family. They take walks along the irrigation canals here in Fabians. She took a photo and she created a beautiful watercolor drawing, and she was able to, they discuss their artwork with them. Their rubric is aligned with UIL regulations, so it is a very, very rigorous and very intense process. They have to present and they're interviewed by a juror, and they have to be able to give them all of the technical and the artistic aspects of the artwork. So Alejandra, congratulations. This is her first year, and we hope to see her advance throughout the years. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
This is her certificate from base, so I'm going to go ahead and present that to her right now. And this is her medal that she can keep with her and continue to advance. Okay. At first, when she told me, she was very leery of me entering her into the competition because she tends to be very shy. Fortunately, we did have a big online portion where they had to complete it online, virtually, so that kind of helped lessen that. So she's ready for next year. The other two students that went to competition was Aaron Orozco. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it today. So Aaron Orozco is an Art 2 student in my Art 2 class as well with Ms. Melendez. So he was able to submit this artwork here called After Hours. And I will give these prints to the board so they can go ahead and display them at a later time. Okay. And then the third student was very special, and she's currently displayed at the Crosslands Gallery in El Paso. This student is Natalie Madrid. She is a senior this year, and she is going on to UTEP, and hopefully she can continue her artistic expression at UTEP as well. Okay, so these are our fruits of our labor in the creative field. We thank you for your support, and we continue to grow our program as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Miss Angela Surratt. Emily Terrazas.
We're here together. Yes. Good evening. My name is Angela Surratt. I am the local precinct 172 Republican chair. That's an elected position with the state of Texas. Lily is the local elected precinct chair for the Democrat Party. We're here together. You know, that doesn't happen very often, Republicans and Democrats, but we're here together for one cause. The reason we wanted to speak to you all this evening has to do with the facility, the voting facility that we use, which is the Old Women's Club. As you all are aware, that building was donated to the school, and we use it every year during elections. Tons of great history in that building. I actually have pictures of my husband's mother and grandmother meeting there. It's a wonderful facility. We usually have early voting on Main. However, we recently found out through the county that they are going to be converting that building into a gym for county employees, and we will no longer be having early voting there. So if you haven't heard, there's the big news, which means we will probably be moving all of voting to the Women's Club. And the reason that we wanted to come to you today to speak was because of the condition of the parking lot there at the Women's Club. I know that this isn't on the agenda. We just wanted to plant the seed with you guys. We have worked several elections there, and I hate to say that that parking lot's dangerous. We've had people fall. It's not paved. When it rains, it's like a river, and it's just not very safe, especially for our older population who use walkers and canes and stuff like that. And so we just wanted to plant the seed with you all. It's not on the budget, it's not on your agenda, but we just wanted to let you guys know that you would please take in consideration the fact that it was donated to the school, and it should be maintained and kept up, and the parking lot really does need some work.
Yes, really? Because the Rogelio Center is the one that's going to be turned into a gym for the county employees. Maybe they'll try and see if the community would be able to join. But as far as we know right now, it's on because this week, when we went in there, they already have all their machines in boxes where they're going to start setting up. So it's going to be for sure thing. We will not be there for early voting anymore. Okay, thank you very much for your attention to our request.
Thank you very much.
Thank
And Lily is the Democrat election judge, I'm the Republican election judge. And so we do run the elections for this area for for El Paso County, so.
Thank you.
Somebody signed in the wrong place. Who's number 4? You just asked if there was somebody else that signed it.
The board president is unable to read the last name on the sign-in sheet. Did somebody? Oh, no, you're an item, sir, so they'll call you up in a little bit, sir. Captain.
Our next order of business, Fairbanks ISD District Employees and Officers for the agenda item, 2021-2022 new hires, Ms. Debbie Benford.
Good evening, President Morales, Dr. Vigil, members of the board, community. I have the privilege of introducing 2 of our newest hires. We've only had 2, well, we had 3, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make it. Hopefully we'll present for the next one. But today we have Mr. Raul Ugarte. He is our new Transportation and Operations Supervisor. And Mr. Gerardo Ortiz, IT Field Specialist for Technology. Once again, these are our 2 new hires that will be joined, that have already joined us as of the last week or so. Thank you. No, go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. Our next order of business, Fairbanks ISD Superintendent Report for agenda item. Superintendent Report, Dr. Vigil.
Board members will start with updates on the special projects update, and I will call Mr. Torres and Mr. Ayala to the podium, please.
Good evening, Mr. President Morales, members of the board, and Dr. Vigil. My name is Martin Torres. I'm the Chief Business Officer of Fairbanks ISD. And at this time, I would like to introduce Mr. David Ayala, who is our Director of Operations, who will give us an update on the pending big projects that we're still working on it and getting some quotes. So he will give you a quick update on the status of those projects.
Good evening, Board President Morales, Dr. Vigil, and members of the board. As Mr. Torres said, I am David Ayala, Director of Facilities and Operations. At our March board meeting, administration presented a resolution and board approved to allocate much needed funds for facility upgrades. As Mr. Torres said, I'm here to present with update on that. Administration and I, once we received that approval, worked real high on high priority items. As listed was a structural crack at Fairbanks High School and the gymnasium. The renovation, complete remodel of 10 student restrooms at the high school as well. We also have the demolition and remodel of the special ed living skills classroom at the high school, and the demolition and repaving of the student parking lot at Fairbanks High School directly in front of the den as well. We quickly solicited pricing and proposals for engineering services and construction services. And we are in contact with a Region 19 awarded contractor, and we are awaiting the recommendations for proposals. The reason it's taking a little bit longer is we do have engineering services that need to be done. And so we've had to do some background checks on soil studies and then measurements for the restrooms to make sure that we get all the materials completed. So we should be getting those proposals here shortly. I would like to stress that we are in a reasonable time frame for these projects still to receive these pricing, as this work has to be done during the summer. That way we don't affect student instruction. Keep in mind that this is phase one of the things that we still have on the things that we presented back in March. But these were the high priority items that were affecting health and safety for our faculty and students the highest. I'd like to thank you for your continued support and your dedication to serving the students and the constituents of Freedman's ISD.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
To the chair,
Yes.
Mr. Ayala,
Yes,
Mr. Ayala, so the 10 restrooms from the high school are already completed. I know we went for a tour several months back, so is everything completed?
we have the two main restrooms that were the first part of that we did prior to bringing these concerns to the board. Those two have been completed. They're the ones directly, the girls' restroom directly in front of the office, and then the boys' restroom on the other at the beginning of a hallway. The only thing we have pending there are the mirrors that were not part of the initial contract that we did with the contractor. We were intending to use the same mirrors that we removed. However, when we brought everything back, that wasn't a feasible option. So right now we're waiting for Baker Glass to supply those. And that way we can move forward in installing those. The other restrooms that are under this proposal with this resolution would be the 10 remaining. So Fabens High School has a total of 12 gang restrooms for our students. And those 10 are the ones remaining for us to remodel. And they would be pretty much mirrored with what the ones that we have currently, the ones that we just remodeled.
Okay. To the chair, Mr. Ayala, what about the restrooms? So we put the tour there for the exit going to the Wildcat Inn. Those restrooms were not working and they were locked. Are they functioning right now at this moment?
Yes, ma'am. As of right now, they are fully operational. They were functioning. The day that we did that site visit, the problem had been that there was a leak at the custodial room. So they shut off the water to that, and that caused the water to be shut off on those restrooms. So once we investigated the following day, we did know that, and that had happened that afternoon, and that I wasn't made aware of. But we came back, we turned it on by the morning, they were fully functional. Yes, yeah.
So, Mr. Ayala, the special ed, has anything been a little bit refined or everything's still the same?
As of right now, it's still the same. We're still holding classes there. And again, we're just waiting for these final proposals to come in, because that facility in itself, that classroom, has 2 restrooms as well that need to be remodeled in there, that they're gonna mirror the exact same specifications that we have for the gang restrooms. And just to give you a little bit on that one, that restroom, we need to expand it, we need to open it up because of the changing table requirements that we have per the department.
Continuing with the special ed in the hallway, there was also, I believe there was a leak. Have we found where the leak is coming from? Because I understand there was pieces where when they did an overflow, that it, I don't know where the water came in, but the whole classrooms on both sides, those restrooms, they were a little bit loaded with things that was not appropriate. Have those been cleaned? Have those been toned up, or we're gonna?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, those we have temporarily fixed that problem. So everything is flowing properly at the moment. And once we get in there to do that renovation, we are tearing up the concrete floor, pulling out the pipe, doing it, fixing it properly, and then resealing it back up with concrete. As of right now, they are functional. We have no concerns for student safety.
No smell, because I know there was like a funky little smell.
No, ma'am. At the moment, they are functioning properly.
And we'll consider the restaurant right next to 2 classrooms.
Yes.
Is there any smell?
No, ma'am.
Because it was still.
That I've been made aware of, and we've been visiting the campus periodically, frequently with the contractors that have been coming in and the engineers and architects. And we have visited I have walked into every single restroom. And at the moment, everything is functioning properly as it should be right now.
And those classrooms that are right next to the restrooms, are they okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, they are.
Also, I wanted to ask you, Mr. Ayala, due to the fact that you're waiting for the studies of the project for the parking, what's the updates on that? Have we ever surfaced anything, or we're still leaving it as it is till the summer?
As of right now, the recommendation, because we would be taking away, I want to say 50 some parkings. We don't have the room to place them anywhere else. So we do have to wait until the end of the school term this semester so that we can repave, we can take that out and repave that parking lot. At this juncture, we don't have the space, the additional parking spaces that we would require for the staff and the students that drive to campus.
Not even using the softball or baseball parking, you wouldn't have enough.
We only have 4 ADA parkings available behind the Wildcat Den. The other situation, the rest of the parking is base course parking lot. So it would present the same problems that we have at the current parking lot, and if we move them over there.
So you just mentioned that, Mr. Ayala, that if you do it within a time frame that we have already coded, right? To my knowledge, is we still in the pricing of the time frame on phase 1?
Yes, ma'am. So for this project to be completed, we need a complete removal, as the base course of it, the subgrade of that parking lot is already failing. And you can see it at multiple locations around the parking lot. So for us just to do a top coat, a overlay, if you will, the term for it, it wouldn't be feasible to do, because with the rain, with the moisture and everything that we might have during monsoon season, that moisture, so when you get that type of failure, it fails from the bottom up. So that moisture continues to get in there, and the moisture is what's going to break down that asphalt. So if we just do an overlay, it's not going to do any good for the future of the parking lot itself.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. I have a question for Mr. Torres. Mr. Torres, on the price ranging on the time frame that we have allocated. So we do have the amount of money to do all these projects, correct? In prior meetings?
We request $750,000 from the general fund. Some of the quotes are, I'm going to be honest with you, they're a little bit higher than that. So that's why we have to be very, very smart on how we choose these vendors. We reach out to Region 19 and a couple of co-ops to guide us on how we can make a selection of these vendors, because right now 750,000 will not be enough. We have a lot of issues through the district, but we identify those as an emergency ones. As soon as we get those quotes, we'll bring it back to you all for final approval. Nothing will be done without your final approval. So once we get those quotes and everything, so we can move forward, if we need to come back, and as we present on the first meeting, when we allocate these funds, if we have a need to go back and request extra money, then I'll bring that to the table. But so far, we're trying to keep everything with the $750,000 that we requested.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. Thank
Sure.
you, Mr. Ayala.
Continuing with the bragging rights, we have Fabens High School, Fabens Middle School, and JROTC program highlights. I'd like to call Captain Hernandez to the podium, please.
Good evening, Board President Morales, Superintendent Vigil, board members, which I think I know all of you for a number of years. Again, members of the community. I am Captain Hertel. I am the Senior Naval Science Instructor of the Fabens High School / Middle School NJROTC unit. When Dr. Vigil came here, she implemented that, and the Navy has made it an official. We are one of 7 units in the state of Texas that actually have a junior high program. And then the next year, she was able to get credit for the 8th graders, so they get the Naval Science 1 elective credit, which is unusual. So again, it's been an interesting evolution, and I thank you very much for all the support that you have provided us. I think you met my assistant, Chief Alba. He is now officially here. We finally got that one all squared away. What is very interesting, I think a few of you, like Mr. Flores, knows that I'm an explosive ordnance disposal, one of those certified crazy people, and he does know me. Chief Alba is a gunner's mate. So now you have 2 ordnance specialists that are your naval science program operation. The chief has come up extremely fast. Okay, I'm here to have 2 bragging rights. One, we got an outstanding on our yearly inspection. I remember when Dr. Vigil came, she sat through 4.5 hours of our on-site inspection. Ms. Gonzalez was also there. I was very appreciative of that. So they both have a real good appreciation of what my kids are going through. They're my kids, yeah. My cadets are going through when they have it. And I would like to present the majority of my staff. They're all smiling at me over here. The one holding the guidon, which we'll use in a minute, is Cadet Commander Stephanie Mesa. You've probably seen her recently. She's been the Top Cat. She's this, that, and everything else. A super, super commander. What is unusual for us, she's a junior. Usually I have seniors, but she's been an outstanding cadet for the time she's been here. Her assistant, the executive officer, is Cadet Lieutenant Commander Bill Lobis. She's kind of like, she's one of those athletic types, but is also on the National Honor Society. I'm extremely pleased with her. The next person down, and she's a junior too, is a sophomore. And the sophomore, this is Cadet Lieutenant Pyra. She is my operations officer. Very unusual, very hard-charging. Again, early college, and I'm real pleased with that. The next 2 that I have are my company commanders. A company commander is Cadet Lieutenant Valdez, and then Cadet Lieutenant Wilkes. So that's my organization, and they're here representing the battalion. Okay, and as I said, we got an outstanding, and at this time, we're going to have the board president, Mr. Morales, pin on to our guidon, and you see we got a few others there too, the award that was given to us for having an outstanding unit. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that. This we have in, if you ever come to our unit and you come in the front door, you'll see it. Okay, the second thing that we can brag about, that was a Bravo Zulu. The second thing is that we compete annually in the Secretary of Navy National Academic Competition. And that is all 550 some units have to provide 1 academic team. What is really interesting is when Mesa and Bill Lobis were freshmen, they volunteered to take it. Chuckle, chuckle. They were voluntold. And they in turn came in with some of the highest grades in Area 9 when we were assigned to Area 9. Guess what? This year we came in 24th. Now, oh, big deal. No, 1,578 units competed. Those are different academic teams. We came in 24th. Quite an accomplishment. I am extremely, extremely pleased with them. So again, are we bragging? Yep, we're bragging. Thank you very much.
Can the students come up and shake the board members' hands?
You got it. Go.
Thank you, Captain Hertel. Next, I'd like to call Dr. Galaviz, April Galaviz, to the podium to present our Migrant Scholarship recipient.
Good evening, Board President Morales, Dr. Vigila, and members of the board. It's my privilege to be able to honor one of our top migrant students in our migrant education program. So Ms. Kayla Hernandez, a student at Fabens High School, is a recipient of 2 awards, 2 scholarship awards. The first award is the New Mexico State University College Assistant Migrant Program, which is short for NMSU CAMP. The scholarship will cover tuition, housing, meals, books, and supplies. Kayla will be majoring in business administration as she's on her way to NMSU this coming school year. The second award that she received is we have the Association for Migrant Educators of Texas. And through this association, she received $1,000 for her scholarship. We are all very proud of Ms. Kayla because she is actually the only recipient in Region 19 area to be awarded this. She could not make it today, but we do have a video that she worked really hard on. So we can play that video for the board. And then her mother is present here today.
Hi, my name is Kayla Hernandez. I am a senior at Fabens High School. I am currently part of the Migrant program. I'm currently taking AP courses in high school. I'm taking AP English 4 and AP Spanish 4. During my free time, I like to hang out with friends, go shopping. I like to dance as well, you know, cumbias and everything. My most memorable moment in high school was probably just those fun times during class with friends, you know, I'll cherish those moments forever, you know, bursting out laughing in class. I'll definitely miss my friends the most. It placed a barrier for me because since the teachers weren't present with me, I had a hard time working on my own. It was definitely a challenge, but I overcame it. Here we are now, and I'm ready to graduate. If I could go back and give myself advice, I definitely tell myself to not take anything for granted. We're only here for a little bit of time, so cherish every little or big moment and never look back. After graduation, I plan on heading to NMSU, fall of 2022. I plan on studying business management and earn my bachelor's in business management. My future goals include having a successful career. I want to work hard to achieve all my goals throughout college and earn that degree and do everything for my mother. This award means so much to me because I've pushed myself hard these 4 years of high school, and I feel like this compensates my hard work, and I'm very thankful for it. I just want to thank Ms. Rodriguez for being a huge part of this. Ms. Flores, who's helped me throughout my high school difficulties, and my mother for being with me through it all. And finally, I just wanted to say, we are 19.
So that is Ms. Kayla Hernandez, and it is a privilege for us to present this $50 to Ms. Hernandez, and I think she has some words to say to you all.
Buenas tardes. Primeramente que nada quiero dar las gracias a Melissa Rodríguez y al personal del programa Migrante por todo el apoyo que le han brindado a mi hija, Kayla. Yo sé que ella va a aprovechar toda esta oportunidad que le han brindado y yo sé que han sido años difíciles, pero juntos hemos salido adelante y yo sé que Kayla va a aprovechar toda esta ayuda para un buen futuro. De nuevamente, gracias.
And Ms. Rodriguez actually wants to highlight some other work of a student that we have.
Good evening, Board President Morales, Superintendent Dr. Vigil, board members, and community. I'm here to highlight another one of our migrant seniors. He's a very talented artist. He does a lot of side jobs for teachers and for community members. So when I met with him and I told him, what are your plans? What are we gonna do after high school? He said, Miss, I have so much work. I'm gonna take a year off and do all these art projects that I had. And I said, well, that's great, but we have to have a backup plan. You know, we always have to have a backup plan. Let's, you know, think of something that maybe you would like to do, just to have that for you to fall back on in case some of these jobs start to go away and you don't have that many. So this opportunity came up. It's the AMIT art contest, and the prize is $1,000 scholarship money. And AMIT stands for the Association of Migrant Educators of Texas. And they have a big fall conference in the state, and the winner, their art goes on the program. It's a big booklet that highlights other migrant seniors, and it highlights the conference. And so the winner of this art contest is gonna have their art entry highlighted on this program. So I went to him and I said, I know that you're not planning to go to school yet, but I wanted you to enter this art contest, but the money, if you win, it can only go to a school. So I don't know, what do you think? And he said, Miss, I've been thinking about it and I'm gonna go to barber school. Will that help me? And I said, yes, it will. I said, it will if you win. So he goes, I'm in. And he turned in his submission, and we don't know if he won yet, but I'm gonna say we got a good chance, and we'll know in late August, early September if he won. But we have it highlighted here for everybody to see. I can't remember the title that he gave it. Something like farm workers working the fields.
With the reflection of the future.
With the reflection of the future. So if you see, he has farm workers working the fields, and the little river that he has is showing the reflection of the future, and it's the same field. And except the workers are now, one's a doctor and one's another construction worker, just showing that with hard work pays off, and that you can do whatever you want to do. So we will let you know in September if he won. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last bragging rights, I'll ask Mr. Lincoln to come and speak about the EPCC graduates.
Good evening, Board President Morales, Dr. Vigil, and board members and community. My name's Edgar Rincon, proud principal of Fabens High School. And today I'm here to highlight some outstanding students that recently graduated from or obtained their associate's degree. So as I call each one of these students, they'll stand right in front of the board members, and then after they'll go ahead and shake your hand, okay? So we would like to congratulate the following seniors for obtaining their associates in art on May 13th from EPCC. First, we have Jackie Argumedo, Misael Barron, Jennifer Flores, Quetzal Morales, Juan Ramos, Claudia Reyes, Jessica Rios, Melissa Rojero, Octavio Sanchez, Jessica Trujillo, Itzel Villela, and Edward Wilkes. All right, now the following students are juniors who completed their Associates of Arts and will be attending UTEP during their senior year. We have Stephanie Mesa, Brandon Perez, and Brianna Navar. Then the following juniors obtained their associate's degree in science and will be attending UTEP in the fall. We have Maritza Contreras and Jimena Ortiz. And of course, some students couldn't make it, but of course, we're saying their name because we're so proud of them, of everything they have accomplished while at Fabens High School, and still the juniors are coming up into being seniors and attending UTEP. You know, I think tonight's bragging rights were all Fabens High School, so that's what makes me a proud principal. Thank you.
That concludes the superintendent's report.
Next item on the agenda, Fabens ISD Board of Trustees, consent agenda. Dr. Vigil.
The administration recommends approval of consent agenda items, including the minutes of the regular board meeting, April 20, 2022, Fabens ISD monthly financial reports, Community and Schools 2022-2023 contract, Texas COVID Learning Acceleration Supports T-Class Memorandums of Understanding. 1, educational affiliation agreement between Fabens Independent School District and the University of Texas at El Paso. Number 2, grow your own program agreement between Fabens Independent School District and the University of Texas at El Paso. Number 3, grow your own Fabens ISD education and training teacher stipend. Number 4, grow your own Fabens ISD. Administration recommends approval of consent agenda items as presented.
Through the chair. To approve recommendation by superintendent as presented.
Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez. Second. And by Mr. Flores. For a vote, Mr. Escobar. Aye. Mr. Flores. Aye. Ms. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Spence. Aye. And Mr. Morales. Motion passed, 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, Fabens ISD, Lone Star Governance Student Outcome Goals, Goal Progress Measures Report. Ms. Gonzalez.
Good evening, President Morales, Dr. Vigil, members of the board and community. Tonight I'm with you once again to present our goal progress measures. If we could go ahead and advance to the PowerPoint. Thank you. So as we've been coming to you monthly, if you can go back one, thank you. If we can, as we've been coming to you monthly, we're reporting on our goal progress measures, which are indicators of how we're doing to meet our actual board goals. And so we have the last of our goal progress measures, 3.3 is presented to you tonight with some additional information that you see in your packets. So if we could go to the next slide. So this goal progress measure supports board goal number 3. And it's our third goal progress measure. Goal number 3, for everybody's recollection, is the percent of graduates that meet the criteria for Ccmr, which is College, Career, and Military Readiness, will increase from 73% on December 2019 taper up to 80% by December 2024. And a reminder that our last score was a 78%. The goal progress measure 3.3 reads the percent of graduates that meet the criteria for Ccmr through advanced placement examinations or AP exams will increase from 9.9% on the December 2019 taper to 16.9% by December 2024. So as we've told you with all of our progress measures, you know, these goals were set before COVID. And so now we're past, a little bit past COVID. And so we have some resetting to do. However, we're not changing any goals right now. We're just reporting on where we're at. So this might not look promising, but there's hope on the next slide. So let me explain this one first. So our current senior class, so these are our seniors. We have data on all of our other classes as well, but we're focusing on the seniors for these Go Progress measures. So we have 2 seniors right now that came into their senior year already with a passing score on an AP exam that qualifies them for meeting that Ccmr point or that Ccmr measure of being college ready. So they came in with some college credits. So advanced placement exams give you college credit, much like dual credit courses. However, advanced placements are a bit more rigorous and they apply outside of the state of Texas as well. Many universities, including Ivy League schools, accept advanced placement scores for credit. So it is a higher bar. And as you can see, we had a pretty low percentage of students getting the Ccmr point this way because it is rigorous, right? But this is our goal to bring this up, and we have to congratulate the high school again. I know they already got some bragging rights, but they've drastically increased the number of students even participating in AP exams, which we have to participate in order to get the scores, right? So that's the first step. So our goal for the end of this year is 12%, and we're at 1%, which is 2 students, but we have their senior year, and the majority of students take AP exams during their senior year, so that's expected. So we're currently at 1.25%, and we have a difference of 10.75% from where we need to be at the end of this school year. And so we'll have that total number for this progress measure at the end of the year. And so we have a breakdown by our subgroups there as well. I do want to say before we go to the next slide that one of the increases that was very intentional at the high school level was to increase the Spanish AP exams. There's 2 exams that they can take. One is language and one is literature in Spanish. And this gives an opportunity for some students that may be newcomers in the secondary level, may not have even been with us in the elementary levels, and can do really well right out of the gate on these 2 exams and get some college credit. Why is that important? Because once you have some credit, you're more likely to go on and pursue that degree. You're more likely to go to college if you already have some credit out of high school. So it's important. And so some of our students that may not have gotten it another way can get that college credit through Spanish AP as well. And so we do have quite a few students taking that this year. If we'll go to the next slide, I said it gets better. So in order to meet our goal, the progress measure that you all set for us this year, we need 17 of our seniors, 17 additional seniors to get the point in AP. So that doesn't mean just taking the test, that means scoring a 3 or higher and actually getting college credit through AP. So we have 44 seniors that are taking AP exams. We need 17 of them to get the point to be on track for the goals that we set prior to COVID. Of those 44 seniors, many of them are taking more than 1 AP exam. They have more than 1 AP class. So there's multiple opportunities for them to pass and get that college credit that is very valuable and that they will use in addition to their dual credit. And so as we break that down, because we have goals for each of our subgroups, for all students and Hispanic, of course, it's the 17 additional students. We'd like to see it even higher, but we do understand that this is a very rigorous exam. From our economically disadvantaged, we need 14, and from our emergent bilingual, which is the new term for limited English, we need 5. So some of those tests have already passed, but we don't have scores yet. So we will, of course, look forward to reporting back actual scores from this year, where everything counts now this year as far as accountability. And so we will report back to you. But with that number of students testing, we feel confident that we will make progress in this area, and we will report that exact progress to you as well. If we'll go on to the next item, we have 3 sections of this report. If we'll go to the next slide, I have been, as we've been reporting on our goal progress measures for goal number 3, we've been talking about Ccmr because we've narrowed in on 3 areas, but I want to give you some more information on our college, career, and military readiness outcomes bonus. So we have Ccmr for accountability. It's part of our rating. It contributes to whether we get an A or a B once we get ratings back, which we will. But it's also part of funding. And so I want to show you some information about that as well. So if we could go to the next slide. So in accountability currently, in order to get the Ccmr points, in order to say that this student is college or career ready, the student has to meet TSI criteria, Texas Success Initiative. Sorry, I drew a blank there. It's right there next to it. Texas Success Initiative criteria, which we talked about before, that you can meet that multiple ways, through SAT, through ACT, through the actual TSI test, or your college prep exam class. You can also earn dual credit course credits, and there's some criteria around that. You can also meet criteria on an AP exam. You can also earn an associate's degree. An on-ramps course is another way to get that we haven't elected to use. You could also be career ready by earning an industry-based certification, or graduate with a completed individual education plan and workforce readiness. That's for our students. Some of our students with special needs can get the point that way, or graduates with an advanced degree plan and receive special education services, or earn a level 1 or level 2 certificate through our CTE programs. And currently enlisting in the military, even though the M is still in there, it's been suspended because TEA is working with the armed forces to get more accurate data on who's enlisted. So originally when it started, we just reported. They told us they're going to enlist. That's what we report. Then they were trying to get the information directly from the military, and there's been some discrepancies there. It's not an easy thing to do. So TA is working on that. So it's still in the title, but they're suspended that temporarily. So we don't get credit for that right now. So how does that, that's our accountability. We've talked about it before, but we haven't talked a lot about our Ccmr outcome bonus money. And so there's a higher criteria for this bonus money. So it's not just meeting the Ccmr points. So here's the comparison. So to get the bonus for the district, which generates funds for the district that helps future classes of students, you have to meet TSI criteria and not through a college prep course. So it has to be through SAT, ACT, or the actual TSI test. And you have to enroll in a post-secondary educational institution immediately following high school. So you have to have met that criteria and you have to enroll. Or you have to have earned an associate's degree. And we saw some of our students earn the associate's degree, so that counts for them. Then the other way is through career readiness. You have to still meet TSI criteria, not through a college prep course. And you have to earn an IBC, an industry-based certification, or a level 1 and 2 or 2 certificate. So it's a higher criteria to get this bonus fund, these bonus monies. And then again, enlisting in the armed forces is temporarily suspended, but that may come back into the bonus calculations. So here I will mention that we do have our college advisor, Ms. Lorena Flores, who assisted us with some of this reporting. She helped prepare some of this information, and she is a year-round employee. Her role is to follow these students after they graduate, and we've talked about that before. What happens after they graduate? They plan to go to college. Why didn't they? Did they run into some roadblocks? She's there to remove some of those roadblocks and provide them additional support. And why is this lagging data? Why do we get 2 years later, we get our Ccmr score for students? Well, because it counts what happens after high school. So that takes a while for TEA to calculate. Even getting an industry-based certification, they can get it in the summer after they graduate, and that still counts for us. Okay, so those are the comparisons. And if you go to the next slide. Yes, sir.
Could you explain to us the level 1, level 2 certification?
So within a CTE pathway, which is your career and technical education, the students can earn certificates and they can earn certification. So level 1 and 2, level 1 is the lower level certificate, then you can earn a level 2, and after that it's an associate's degree or an associate's of applied science. So in the different pathways, there's a list of what certifications the students can go for. So the role of the counselors and the college advisor and the administration at high school is to have the students select that path and try to complete a sequence of courses that will lead to those certifications, not jump around from path to path where they won't get these certificates. But an example is like a certified nurse assistant, and then you move up to an LVN, and you move up and so forth. That's a good example to use. Sure.
Ms. Gonzalez, I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
wanted, for you to explain to me, like for instance, the Texas initiative, which is the TSI.
Yes.
So the military ready, it's not being effective for students right now.
Right.
Especially
So
this year, like when they're leaving now.
right.
You said you do have students and you report that. So do we have anything in place to where they can get any kind of TSI on this area for military?
So
readiness?
a student that is intending to enlist in the military right after high school, they can still do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that. We're still helping them. We still provide the ASVAB testing for them. We still give them support. We still bring in the recruiters. So we're still doing everything we can to support those students that want to join the military. As a district, we're just not getting any points for them. but it's not hurting the student. They can still go. And they can do multiple things. They can earn an industry-based certification and join the military. They can pass TSI, get dual credit courses and join the military. So they can do multiple things. And we're still supporting them. We're not saying like, okay, we're not getting credit for this, so we're not going to help them. No, not at all. This is still an honorable thing to do after graduation. So nothing has been removed as far as helping the students on that pathway.
So
That
that means
helps.
the TEA is not.
They're just not giving us points because they're saying, okay, if you self-reported, we don't know if the student said they were going to enroll and they actually enlist and they actually did. And then they're saying, well, so we want that information from the military directly. The military is saying, we might not want to give you that information, right? So they're working with the military to try to get accurate information so that they can credit the schools accurately, which is fair.
Thank you.
Sure. So on the next slide. So the region was able to provide us some information on how we're doing with our CCMR bonus funding. So if you look at our potential of earning money for the district, and this money goes back to support the students, it's a cycle, right? It goes back to support them in reaching CCMR. Currently this year, Fabens ISD received in our state funding $107,000, just over $107,000 in CCMR bonus money. Next year, we already received our notice that we will go up to $170,000 in CCMR bonus money. The way they calculate the percentage of what your potential earnings are as a district is if all of your students, all of your seniors earn this higher level criteria for CCMR bonus money, you have the potential to get $720,000. So that's our maximum potential if everybody meets this criteria. And you notice that some of the criteria for accountability doesn't count for bonus money, so it's a lot less and it's more rigorous. But this is our potential earnings. And so how much of our potential did we get for next school year? And this is based on our 2019 graduates, because remember, it's lagging data. So our 2019 grads are generating the funding for our students next school year, which is 170,000. So sometimes we like to compare ourselves to the rest of the region, and this isn't a good example. So the Texas average is 17%. So across the state of Texas, schools are generating about 17% of their potential in this area. Fabens ISD has generated 24% of our potential in this area. And you can see the comparison with our neighbors. We're doing well in this area. So we want to highlight the work that the students and teachers and staff are doing to promote this. And it's good. This fluctuates. This is pre-COVID still because it's lagging data. So we do know it's going to dip a little bit before it goes back up. We're prepared for that. But we're excited to be able to share this with you because this is money that goes back to our students. So these graduates in 2019 have earned money for the district that will help future graduates. And as an example, I did pull out the information on how can we spend this money? What's allowable use of this funds? And so some allowable use of these funds are related to teacher training and professional development on CCMR content, student preparation for CCMR content, counseling and advising services, work-based learning, advanced academics, and college and career readiness school models, of which we have 3, P-TECH, early college, and T-STEM. Funds may be used for expenses that include equipment, supplies, salaries, stipends, tutors, software subscriptions, rentals, transportation, or any expense incurred to prepare students for an opportunity to meet the measures tied to CCMR outcome bonuses. So it's pretty broad use of the funds, which is very exciting. So if we'll go to go ahead.
The chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Gonzalez, we didn't provide that, could I have a copy of that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is from, I wanted to gather some more background information for you, but we'll give you all copies of that. It's in a TEA to the administrator address from when it first came out. So I'll provide you all a copy of that, absolutely. Just some more background information. And on the next page, if you could go to the next slide. So the calculations for how we generate the money, and this is across the state of Texas, is based on each annual graduate that meets the state expectations above a certain threshold percentage. So the state of Texas is saying from your economically disadvantaged student, 11% of them should meet this. We're not going to give you any extra money for it. You should always have 11%, but anything above 11%, we're going to give you $5,000 for each student above 11%. For non-economically disadvantaged student, they're expecting 24% of them to meet it. This is the high standard. And anybody above that will give you $3,000. In addition, if a special education student meets this high criteria, we'll give you $2,000 additional. So if it's an economically disadvantaged student that is also receiving special ed services, you'd get the additional 2,000, so that would be 7,000 for that student would generate. If they're non-economically disadvantaged, but they are receiving special ed services, it would be 5. So these are the calculations that all the districts go by. And so when you see that potential earning, it was based on this. We don't get funding for every student. We have to meet those thresholds first. And then above that, we have the potential to go up to just over $700,000 if they meet that criteria. So I wanted to share that with you because we do have a position focused on this, mostly grant funded right now. But the idea behind that grant funding is that it keeps producing this Ccmr outcome bonus money so that it would fund that position to help the students beyond the graduation. That's one example. We also fund a counselor out of this, and then additional funding for the high school for their Ccmr models and anything that contributes to students meeting these goals. So the next part, third part of our presentation, that's the good part. The next part is just a little preview, because as we wrap up our goal progress measures, we will be coming to you once we have final official, STAR scores, accountability scores, and all of that. And we're going to be looking at them through a common language, and we have some models. And so I want to just kind of give you a preview of that. If we could go to the next slide. These are learning recovery models. And so Dr. Vigil and I attended a workshop on this, and it was a very good way to look at the data. And we are going to be working with this throughout the summer with our administrators and even our teachers when they return for the following school year. And very importantly, as you all look at data every single month, we want to be able to have a common language to say, where are we at with this data? And so how are we going to recover from the COVID pandemic as far as our learning loss? And so ideally, a V-shaped recovery. And that's what we all hope for, right? Is that we know we're going to go down, but we want to bounce right back up and get right on track where we had planned to be. So if you look at that last dot, maybe being 2024, we're going to say, okay, we know we're going to take a dip, but we're going to catch right back up and not lose any ground, right? Mm-hmm. Take a dip, catch back up, which requires some acceleration to get caught back up, right? So that's a V-shaped recovery. That's what we would love to have, but it may not be realistic in all areas. So as you go to the next slide, another model that we could see is a U-shaped recovery. And so this one still shows us catching up and getting back to where we had planned to be, but it just takes a little bit longer to get there. So a U-shaped recovery shows progress and continual progress until we eventually catch up to where we had planned to be. We eventually close that gap. Whatever learning loss took place, we completely recover from it, but it just takes a little bit longer than a V-shaped recovery. So this one we're calling a U-shaped recovery. And we'll start using these terms as we present data to you. So we wanted to give you this preview. So the next one. The next one is an L-shaped recovery. So what does this one mean? This one means, okay, we had some loss, and we're going to start going in the right direction. We're going to start going up, and we're going to start improving every year. But this one shows that it's never catching up to where we would have been had the pandemic not occurred. So we're still progressing, but we lost something that we never got back. We're just going to progress from where we are. So where we had planned to be in 2024, we might not be there till 2026. So this is still in a positive trajectory, but it's not completely erasing the impact of the pandemic. So that's a possibility. Now the last one is a worst case scenario. So if we'll go to the next slide, this is an academic downward spiral. And of course, this is something nobody wants to see. This is where we experience a loss and we don't recover from it. So this is if we weren't doing things to make up for the loss, we see a downward spiral. So obviously this is something that nobody wants, but this is something we need to be watching for. Like a hawk, right? We need to be checking for that. Are we seeing a problem in an area that we're just not recovering? And the impact of the pandemic is having long-term negative effects on students. And so this is something that is a model that we need to watch for. And so on the last slide, if you could go to that, what I want to say about these models is that we probably won't just have one. We may have all of those models in one form or another. So based on grade level, based on subject, and based on demographics. We may see an overall positive model, and we certainly hope to, and that's what we're working toward. But in the data, as we drill down into the data, we might see that certain grade levels were more impacted than others. If you were experienced the pandemic during a critical year where you were learning how to read, for example, you might experience a longer recovery than in a later year where you already knew how to read and you could handle the online learning better. If you were in a student group where you were struggling with English and you experienced the pandemic and you had a delay in your learning of English and that was delayed, that's going to impact you in other areas. So we're going to be looking for these models within our data so that we can respond to them, so that we can see if what we're doing already to recover from the pandemic is working well enough, is working fast enough to help us recover, or do we need to change course, or do we need to layer on supports? So this is a preview of how we're going to be looking at that data, because we're getting real accountability data this year. We've told you for 2 years, not due to COVID, but now we're getting real data, and we've got to work with that, and we've got to try to recover. And we can't just say, okay, we see a U-shaped recovery, we're getting back on track, but these students over here are experiencing a downward spiral. We have to look at that too. And we have to say, okay, most of our kids are here, but some are here. What are we going to do differently for them? And so as we bring you data beyond the Go Progress measures coming forward throughout the summer and the beginning of the new school year, we will be looking for these types of trends and how we can respond to them. So not to end on a negative note with the worst example, but we want to be realistic. And I think as a board, you have been very realistic about what data you want to see and what progress we're looking for, and we'll continue to bring you that information and have that common language, not just with you, but with the staff, with the administration, so that we can look carefully at what's happening to our students after the pandemic. There's still a road ahead, is what we're saying. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
So
sir.
is it fair to say that we will see any, where we're at until more likely the second semester of next year?
We'll get information before that. We're starting to get preliminary STAR data coming in, but it's very preliminary. It's not broken down by groups. What we get first is individual student data. Did this student pass or not? Because we need that to see, are they going to graduate? If they're an EOC student, we need to see if they're going to go to summer school, but it's very preliminary. So accountability comes later, but we should have that early, end of August. You should have some more data to work with. The taper report doesn't come out, and we usually present that in January, and that's where it's very official. They've sorted out who counts for us and who doesn't, because that's the thing with the raw data. Students that may have come from another district, we just have raw data on students, and it's slowly coming in, and we're using that to design who needs to come to summer school, who needs to test again in the summer, what courses do they need to be in for help in the next school year. But who counts for us in accountability, that's sorted out down the road, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, through the chair, Ms. Gonzalez, I did catch when you said, when you mentioned that you had and you and Dr. Vigil had attended this training and workshop. Did any administrator, were they able to attend also?
No, this was a training that was provided and paid for by Renaissance, which is one of the companies that we use, and it's up to us to turn that around to administrators. So we do have an administrator training scheduled for the summer where we're going to go in even more depth into these models.
Okay, so that being on these models, everything that you presented tonight is I guess the academic view of this is that you're going to be changing some of the terminology like spiral, the V shapes, and all these things. I'm trying to catch everything, right? The U shapes, the L shapes. So my question to you: Have all this been presented to your administrators?
No, it's to you all first. So it's first to you. We're training administrators through the summer, and then we're training teachers at the beginning of the year.
Okay, and that will be brought to our table, right? So everything is being done according to for you on your training. They both of you attended, right? So make sure everybody's aware of what we're doing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it looks very impressive to where it looks like it's going to be like a tool you can continue using, and some of the wording is the terminology that they're using. It's more or less what we're using already. It's just a mere wording and the time frames of how we're doing the spiral and the letter recoveries that we're doing. So I would like to encourage you to where, with the fact that you are the curriculum instruction superintendent, that, you know, that we do have, be transparent with the administrators. So the administrator can be transparent with our staff. So we have a better aspect of where our role is going for the future to recover what we need to recover. Because now, you, like you just said prior, now we know where we're at, and we're trying to reach those areas where we need to reach the students.
Absolutely.
So I just want to share that with both of you, so, you know, and administrators, if you're here, you know, to reach back to you, to where, you know, what is it that you think could be a better tool to increase what they already have implemented in the curriculum.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I have a real quick question.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. On the Ccmr outcome bonuses, you mentioned that can be used for salaries?
Yes.
So then maybe this would be a question about the youth, if we can discuss this. How about a vocational agricultural, I mean, could this come up, could this possibly fund a position for vocational ag? And the reason I ask that is because you talked about certifications, getting more money. They can get certified as welders and that kind of stuff. In the vocational ag program, is that a possibility?
According to the description, yes, it would, as long as it's working, as long as it's going toward you know, it's more stringent, it's harder to get the bonus money. It's not just the certificate, it's the TSI and the certificate. So yes, if they're working toward that, yes. Thank you.
And to the chair, just want to echo on what Mr. Lourdes said, because you have a listing of what you presented tonight, and everything could be
yes,
a lot allocated for this. Is there any clause where it says any more amendment to for the needs of the district?
It's not an amendment process. It's not something you apply for. It's just guidelines. And so I gave you the summary at the top, but I'm going to give you the details where it kind of breaks it down even more. But it's not something you apply for. It's automatic and with spending within guidelines. And we currently pay one of our counselors at the high school for the early college, and the portion that's not covered by a grant for our college advisor. So as salaries goes, that's what's currently out of it, because it does fluctuate. So we need to be cautious with that, but it's possible. Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Fairbanks ISD Board Trustees Business. Fairbanks ISD Farm Lease Agreement. Dr. Vigil.
Board members, you have a copy of the farm lease in your packets that you received as backup. The administration recommends approval of the Fairbanks ISD farm lease agreement as presented.
I have a question before we go. Dr. Vicky, on this item, it also says, quote, Mr. Loya currently has a crop on the field and he does wish to continue with us?
Yes, he wishes to extend
At the
it.
same that we're
Yes, ma'am.
same contract that we have written.
Yes, ma'am.
With the district.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Reed,
Yes.
Is there a reason why we have to do it at this time of the year? We can't do it earlier? Because like you said, he has a crop on there.
Yes.
And one day they vote no. Then what happens? You know,
Exactly.
most farmers get everything, they get their funding, they get their money, everything in December, November. That's when you write up for your money, your federal monies or anything to farm. And I was just wondering if, you know, I know we're already doing it right now, but I'm saying maybe in the future, if Mr. Flores was talking about, he talked to Loya, Mr. Loya, and it makes a difference, you know, because you start the year at the first of the year in January usually.
Before we start planting, right?
Can a recommendation be made to get approval by Mr. Safi to amend the lease? Can we do it that way?
Yeah,
And
I'm just saying, you know,
I
maybe for this
understand,
coming
yes,
year,
right.
yeah, we'll vote on this.
What would happen if you said no?
Yeah, I mean, he has a crop on there, that's not,
Correct.
you know, if we can do it earlier. Usually, I mean, he's not gonna put country, he's not gonna put anything like that, so there'll be a crop that will be planted in the first of the year, so if we can look into that, I just.
I can ask Mr. Safi to look at that language and see how that can be amended.
Okay.
So this is year by year, right?
Yes, it's yearly.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Mr. Spence was saying, just, same thing that, just because the crops planted at the beginning of the year, you know, you work the ground and you plant and you harvest at the end of the year, so it makes it's logical sense to bring this contract to Mr. Loya or whoever.
Yeah.
At the, probably December, right? December, January? Because by January 1, I know on farm leases, your lease usually goes from January 1 to December 31st.
Yeah.
So.
Should you make a motion to extend the lease to December 31st? Because if within the contract, it does state that we need to give him time to harvest what he has planted during this time.
I think the thing we should, you know, this is my opinion, I think we both agree on this, or I think we all agree on it, is it because this is presented to us today, we you know, he's already got a crop in the field, so we gotta go forward and, we should approve this, and then talk to Mr. Softly, by November, December, we'll have a contract, approval for the next following.
Yeah.
So you want me to bring it back in November?
We can read.
Well, she's gonna talk to Safi to see if that's, you know, we need issues come up with that.
Right,
But
or
we're not
Mr.
gonna amend
Rodriguez,
anything.
you were saying that it could be extended, to December 2023.
December 2022.
Oh, that's not an extension, it says June 16, 2023.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
yes.
June to June
So
here.
December of 2023.
Yes.
With the only change being the expiration date. Everything else in the contract would stay the same.
So you can make that motion today.
Yes.
So we can make that motion to do it to December of 2023.
Correct.
So you'd have this year and next year.
Correct.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Yeah.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Spence. Second by Mr. Escobar. Any other questions, comments? All right, let's go for a vote. Mr. Escobar. Aye. Mr. Flores. Aye. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Spence.
Aye.
Morales, aye. Motion passed, 5-1. Thank you, Dr. G.
Thank you.
Our next item is the agenda, Fairbanks ISD Board of Trustees business. Board agenda item, Fairbanks High School class of 2022 update. Mr. Rincon.
Good evening once again, Board President Morales, Dr. Vigil, board members, and members of the community. I have a slide for the upcoming graduation and information for our seniors. So we already pulled that up. If you go to the next slide, we have a total number of seniors that were scheduled to graduate on June 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Here you just have some demographic of the percentages of those seniors that are gifted and talented, at risk, economically disadvantaged, emerging bilinguals, and special education. So that's just a slide of some demographics of our seniors. Here, as far as SAT performance, a total of 110 seniors took the SAT test. The average score for that was an 832. So 54% of those 110 were female, 45% were male. For college readiness, just a reminder of some COVID exemptions that kids kind of took advantage of, right? If they got Algebra 2, if you took Algebra 2 and received a grade of a B or above, they were exempt from TSI and could take dual credit classes, or in English classes, if they took English 1 or English 2 and received a B or above, they can start taking dual credit classes and start taking English 1301, which is a college course. Also, if students took a college prep course, they were exempt from the TSI and were able to take it. So 47 of our seniors took advantage of that for English, 57 for math. So if they pass that class, then they're college ready and can continue on to college courses. For the TSI data, 96% of our students that are seniors participated in it. You have passing percentages there. Reading and writing, 33 of our students passed, and in math, 16% passed. You see that percentage is low. TSI is a difficult test, but we do have TSI prep for those kids that are not successful, in hopes that when they retake the TSI, they can pass it and be ready for college courses. right, so here we have our, our different programs and our campus. Here for students that had an average of a GPA of 90% or above, we had 58 of those students considered honor students. We have 16 T-STEM students that will be graduating. We don't have any P-TECH students because we just started that cohort. Those kids are only in 10th grade right now. And then early college kids, we have 45 graduating from our high school. As far as the scholarship data, as of the 13th, we have a little bit under $400,000 in scholarships. Totals are coming in every day, so I'll update that as they come in. We're just adding $1,000 for Kayla, so we'll put that total in that amount. So those are the scholarships that we have there. All right, so again, I mentioned that June 3rd, we all know that it is a graduation, June 3rd, 7:30 p.m. We just had our second graduation meeting just today. We invited Mr. Ayala just to make sure the logistics were ready as far as staging, chairs. Also, security was there to see where we're going to position the people, how the kids are going to walk in, how they're going to walk out, how the staff's going to walk in, who's going to sit on the stage. It's just exciting to just talk about that, right? We were talking about how excited we are that we get chills when seeing that. And again, I mentioned in the prior board meeting that the buzz is there. Graduation's coming up. Our seniors are getting ready for it. So we have stage ready, sound and video system is ordered, chairs and chair covers are ordered. The senior signs that we'll present to the students during their senior breakfast are all printed and ready to go. Just like before, 2 guests per graduate will be allowed on the football field, and the stands will be just open seating. And then we already talked to Mr. Perez, and he is allowing us to line up inside the early college on the hallway for all the seniors so they can be cool before we start the ceremony. And of course, we need to make sure that they don't have anything they're not supposed to on the field. So we are going to conduct searches. So we already have 3 SROs lined up for that, our 2 male deputies and our female Deputy Molina to help out on that. So pretty sure we have everything covered, I think, right? I hope so. So everybody has been great because they've done it in the past, of course. This is my first one here in Phoebens. Very excited to be a part of it. Questions? Okay. Thank you.
Next order of business, Phoebens ISD Board of Trustees business. For agenda item, Phoebens ISD 2022-2023 basic school supplies purchase over 50,000. Ms. Gonzalez.
Good evening once again, President Morales, Dr. Vigil, members of the board and community. What we're passing out to you all is just some more backup that was requested for the quotes that I'm about to discuss with you today. So this current school year, with some of our ESSER funding and to assist parents in recovering financially from the COVID pandemic, the district purchased supply packs for every student. And those were distributed at the beginning of the year. And then after that, the campus budgets kicked in to keep replenishing supplies for the classrooms so that we would not place that burden on our families. So we're here tonight to ask approval to once again provide supply packs, basic supplies, school supplies for every student. There are different supply lists for each campus. So the principals once again went back to their teachers to agree upon a standard supply list for each campus. And then with that standard supply list, we did seek out different companies. The company we selected, and really all of them are on the buy board, so we're not required to do the quotes, but we like to do that extra step to compare what's out there and to be financially responsible with our money. So this is not out of the general fund, it is out of ESSER funding. However, we did seek out additional companies. We were pleased with the supplies that we got this school year overall. There were some generic brands in there that were not as high quality as some of the name brands. And there was a delay in the shipment. And that delay in the shipment was the key reason that we went out to look for some additional companies. And we also took the step of checking to see other districts that could give a reference for those companies, that they were reliable and submitted the supplies as promised, which we felt was extremely important because we don't want to promise something and not be able to deliver it well before the first day of school. So we're coming to you with plenty of time to get these supplies in the summer so that we have them well before the first day of school. And the company that we selected that we'd like to go with is Educational Products, Inc. They do have a good reputation in the area with some of our bigger districts that have done a similar campaign to provide supplies for the students. We're also pleased that they provide a lot of name brand supplies. So you look in the comparison and there is one company that was cheaper, but it's completely generic, no name brand supplies. And then you see the one we used last year has a mixture, some generic and some name brand. However, the delay in what was promised to us was a factor as well. And so that's why we did that extra step of trying to get some references for the companies. And so I do have an example. This is not the supply list that we turned in. This is their sample that they send to us to show how it's packaged for the students. So it's not in a bag, it's in a box, a pretty sturdy box, but you can see name brand supplies are prominent. And the nice thing is through no extra cost, they package them per student. So it's a very easy shipment and turnaround process to deliver these to the kids and say, here, welcome to Fabens. We're glad you're in our district. Here are your supplies for the year. And that same excitement when kids get their supplies, whether it's the parents buying them or they get their package, that excitement is still there. They have their school box, they have their Kleenex, which we added this year. We didn't include Kleenex last year. So after the price comparison and we chose this company, we added the Kleenex, so you'll see that on there as well. But we feel like this is a good product. Each principal, with the help of their teachers, provided their supply list. If there's extra things that they need for an elective or something throughout the year, their budgets should be adequate to cover that. And Mr. Torres has always worked with the principals to make sure that they have what they need. So if you would like to do this again this year, the administration recommends approval of the basic school supply purchase not to exceed $70,000. There's a cushion there. If you'll notice on the quote, there's tax, which we will not be paying. That gives us a cushion of about $5,000 to $6,000 in case our enrollment fluctuates and we have more at one campus than at another. We want to give them the right supply pack.
Hello, Chair. I did have opportunity to talk to Dr. Recipient this afternoon because I just wanted to share with you a question on the folders. Okay, and it's one side that last year, this is a packet that middle school got. Okay, and on these, I just want to share with you on the binders. Will they be like a little bit more thicker? More, this is just a basic, not even the dollar store sells these. It's very poor. It's very flimsy, you know, you can fold it. I just want to share with you so you know, so that's why I asked for request for the vendor. These are the colored pencils that was given to them. You know, they can barely see the color when they were using it. A lot of them, you know, some of them they return them back to the campus because parents said, you know, thank you very much. I think we can get a little bit more of our budget to buy what our kids need. So I want to share that with you. On the pencils, you know, these were nice. I thought I used a couple to see how it worked. Sure. But you know, when you're writing on this one, the mechanical little pencils, you write and it cracks right away like the pencil. Okay, so because it's not thick enough, the lid. Okay, and that's why I'm glad to see. This is a composition book that we have, you know, to where, you know, kids have always used them, you know, but I just want to share, that's why I want to see their name brand. And this is College Rule, this was a strong one, so I just want to share with you, because I think that in getting this extended $20,000 that they want for supplies, and we're getting quality instead of quantity, that makes a big difference, because we do have parents that can't afford, like we always say, parents can't afford some of the more expensive things for the kids, right? So, and there's some of them that, you know, that they can't, you know, so and maybe both ways, and I rather would like to see more quality than quantity. Sure. And that's what I want to share that with you, and look, totally difference to this, you know, it's very hard work, this is just like any kind of work. So thank you for sharing this with us, and I do see the name brand Crayola, you know, and I think that the district, you know, using the ESSER money that, like you said, and all the materials that they're going to be for the students. I don't know if this is for the pre-K or for all students, but it
Yes,
looks
all.
like it's a little, for all students.
So that's not the exact pack, that's a sample pack that they sent,
So
so
this is gonna be for all students or?
all students get a box, and it's based on what their campus chose. So in the, what I just passed out to you now, you can see the
Yes,
actual
yes.
list by campus, and it tells you if it's a name brand or not.
Okay.
So if you don't
I
recognize the
wanted-
name, it's probably not a name brand.
I wanted to share with you that I do my homework. Okay, so I wanted to ask you on the buds. I mean, like this ones, they were having trouble, like for the first couple of weeks, they tear, right?
Right.
So are we getting them this year, more quality on them?
They get a new set of earbuds every year. Every year that we do this, they're gonna get a new set of earbuds. I don't know if these are better quality than those, I have to be honest with you. But for testing and classroom, we have those big durable
Yes.
earphones, but these are things that they can take home.
Yes. but
They're
this is
their
for-
own.
This were being used for their personal.
Right.
Their, what is it, their laptops?
The Chromebooks, yes.
Technology.
Chromebook.
The Chromebooks,
Right.
right? So, some of us have stronger strength than
Sure.
others, some are gonna be like real careful using them, some are just gonna tear them off and whatever. So that's why I wanted to ask, do we replace these, or can we replace these ones?
Right, so that's why we decided to include them again. We weren't expecting that the ones they got this year would still be all in great shape. So they're getting one a year, they get one a year. And then we have the higher quality headphones that stay in the classroom that we use for testing and classroom things as well.
Okay, so, leading to that, that you said that most of the campuses, that the teachers and the principals got together with their campuses are all items that were presented from the principals through their site-based committees that they voted for what they need. Is everybody gonna get everything that they request, or is it gonna be limited?
So it's one agreed upon supply list per campus, so it's not divided up by department. Last year, we did have to cut down for equity. We had some that were much longer than other campuses, so we had to cut down. This year, the principals already knew that, they already did a great job, and we were able to honor that, and we were able to add earbuds. If they didn't include them, we added it, because some did some didn't. We said we need to give that to everybody, and we added the tissue as well, the Kleenex.
And the reason I'm saying is that because, when we're gonna get things are gonna be given, that we think of the ESSER money, that we're able to supply this, because of course, we all want a wish list, so of course, we're gonna add more and more and more. But I think that if we can help them, continue helping them get that more extra, and we still have money, I think that it should be considered that we try to help them to get, so they don't be using so much of the budget, to be getting little things that I think that the ESSER money that we can continue supplying what they need.
Absolutely, and you bring up a great point. It's kind of a balance between
Yes.
saving money, but also getting quality. And so we really tried to balance that out this year without going much over what we spent last year. And I have to give some credit and a little shout out to Marty Cavazos, because she did some of the negotiating with the vendors, and she actually got us a pretty significant discount with the vendor that we chose. It was 20,000 less than the original quote that they gave us, without sacrificing much of the name brand. So I have to give her credit for that, because she worked real hard in her role to get us the best deal. Plus this current product, they had a promotion going where you get $500 off for new schools, but it was, I said, we can't do that. We have to wait for the board meeting, which is outside of the promotion. So they did come back and get permission to extend it for us. So they are going to give us an additional $500 off. So, that negotiation back and forth is about just trying to, save our money and be more responsible with it. But you're right, we have to look at quality as well. So I don't know if these earbuds are better than last year's. I hope they are, but we'll definitely be looking at that.
It looks pretty impressive.
Sure.
And pretty much to where I think it has changed to what it was last year. Okay. And I just thank you for presenting this to the board, because I know we're going on and beyond and helping our families in need, especially in supplies.
Sure, and with our media specialist, Ms. Maciel, we can photograph the kids getting the supplies, advertise Fabens in a very positive light, that this is a great district to come to, because the board really supports the community in these types of efforts.
Well, thank you for bringing all this to us, Mrs. Gonzalez, and I think we're ready for motion. I think this is very good we bring out everything that is being provided from the district to the community and parents. And I think that's very important, because we are involved. And thank you again, Dr. Vigil, and everybody involved, Ms. Cavazos, Mr. Torres, because he has to find the money. We can maybe what we need.
And Dr. Galaviz, she has the federal money.
Galaviz, you know, so, like I said, I mean, everybody, like you mentioned, I mean, I think everybody that was involved with in this effort, you know, I think that it's time, you know, that we acknowledge, you know, everybody that's put, you know, all their effort in our students' education. Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
I make the motion.
Motion made by
Second.
Mrs. Lopez, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez.
I'm gonna take this one.
Okay.
Call for a vote, Mr. Escobar. Aye. Mr. Flores. Aye. Ms. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Spence.
Aye.
Morales, aye. Motion passed, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
There's any other business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Flores. Mr. Escobar. Aye. Mr. Flores. Aye. Ms. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Spence.
Aye.
Morales. Passes 5-0. This meeting is adjourned at 8:07.
Hi, my name is Kayla Hernandez. I'm a senior at Fairbanks High School. I'm currently part of the Migrant program. I'm currently taking AP courses in high school. I'm taking AP English 4 and AP Spanish 4. During my free time, I like to hang out with friends, go shopping. I like to dance as well, you know, cumbias and everything. My most memorable moment in high school was probably just those fun times during class with friends, you know, I'll cherish those moments forever, you know, bursting out laughing in class. I'll definitely miss my friends the most. It placed a barrier for me because since the teachers weren't present with me, I had a hard time working on my own. It was definitely a challenge, but I overcame it. Here we are now, and I'm ready to graduate. If I could go back and give myself advice, I definitely tell myself to not take anything for granted. We're only here for a little bit of time, so cherish every little or big moment and never look back. After graduation, I plan on heading to NMSU, fall of 2022. I plan on studying business management and earn my bachelor's in business management. My future goals include having a successful career. I want to work hard to achieve all my goals throughout college and earn that degree and do everything for my mother. This award means so much to me because I've pushed myself hard these 4 years of high school, and I feel like this compensates my hard work, and I'm very thankful for it. I just want to thank Ms. Rodriguez for being a huge part of this. Ms. Flores, who's helped me throughout my high school difficulties, and my mother for being with me through it all. And finally, I just wanted to say we are 19.